Speak English has become a necessity for a lot of people around the world. But why? Did you know that English is the most spoken language in the world? More than 1 billion people in the planet speaks English. So, what are you waiting for? Before we start to talk about this, and considering we're talking about languages, why don't we talk about how this video is possible? And you know what? This video is only possible thanks to the people of Languages Unlimited. So, I have to tell you that in Languages Unlimited, you can find so many services. Whatever you want, they have it. Video remote interpretation, sign language interpretation, on-site interpretation, document translation, telephonic interpretation, and so many more. So please, if you're interested in, you just have to visit right now languagesunlimited.com, and you can see this and so many other services that they have for you. And let's keep talking about how the English is the most important language around the world. So, like I said before, the English is the most spoken language around the world. There are more than 1 billion people that speaks English. That means that the 17% of the world population speaks English. In at least 75 countries, the English is one of the official languages. That means that 39% of the nations around the world have English as one of their official languages. Another reason is that there are so many countries that emphasize in the learning of the English. Countries like Germany, like Japan, like Sweden, they teach English to the little kids. So when these kids are teenagers, they already have a really good level of English. There are also a lot of programs and institutions and even programs in college that teach English to people from all around the world. And this has increased the English speakers. And the other reason is that the English takes a really important part in the professional system. The technology, computer programs, the science, the math, the marketing, all these areas used English as their language. So that makes a lot of professionals to learn the language. Now, a common recommendation that you hear is to learn English. It has become a necessity. It's something vital in so many professions, in so many careers, in so many jobs right now. In Latin America, it is a little bit different from Europe and Asia. In so many countries in Europe and Asia, English is really well taught to kids from schools. But in Latin America, there are schools that are bilingual, but the most part of the schools are not, and they teach English in a really superficial way. This makes some students to learn the language in another way. So this made the students to take another path or another road to learn the language. So there is a lot of institutes here in Latin America, a lot of academies that teach the English. There are American academies, there are British academies, there are even online courses when people can have a certificate that they are English speakers. And these certifications have become an essential when people is trying to looking for a job. A lot of companies, a lot of American companies, Canadian companies, even European companies hire a lot of people from Latin America to work in a remote way. And one of the skills that they're always looking for is the English knowledge. Why? Because these companies are common working with people for all around the world, and the common language, the way of communication here is English. So more than a plus or an extra in your CV is actually a need. So it is really common in a lot of portals, in a lot of websites that are dedicated to job offers, like only for English speakers. And actually, it has become a little bit hard to find a remote job for people that don't speak English. I'm going to tell you about my case. In the last years, and I'm gonna give you some examples about it. In my case, I am from Venezuela. I learned English while I learned English when I was a teenager. I speak fluent English since I am 15, 16 years old. And the 90% of the jobs that I have had are remote jobs. And in all of them, they have asked me to speak English. It is a condition. It is a condition to speak the language. In so many opportunities, I have clicked for a job, and sometimes it's not even a job in the USA, Canada, Australia. And they send you a test. They send you a test in English. They send you to prove that you actually speak the language, because there is really common that people lies about it. So they need to test your level in the language. There are also some virtual tests. You can receive a small certificate of your English level. So a lot of people put this in their CVs, because this is a way to prove that they are actually English speakers. Sometimes the interviews are in English, and it's weird because, for example, in my case, sometimes there is another Venezuelan, so it's like you think like, okay, this is now our language, why the interview is in English? And it's probably because you are gonna need it for the job. That's what I have learned in the years that I have been working. And I'm super glad that my mom inscribed me so many years ago to learn English in an institute, because right now I have a job because of that. I have another example of an opposite case. I have a friend who worked with me some years ago, and she's a brilliant woman. She's older than me, and she has so much more experience than me. She's a really prepared woman. She is professional. She has a lot of titles, professional titles. She's unbelievable. I mean, you read her CV and you're like, wow. But she has only one fault, and is that she doesn't speak English. And a couple of days ago we were talking, and right now she has no job. Right now she's unemployed, and she tells me like, it is hard. It is hard right now to find a job. And I asked her why, what happened, and she told me, you know what? Every single job that I fixed in, they rejected me because I can't speak English. The first question that they asked me is, do you speak English? And she's like, no. And it's over. So it is something hard. And she was telling me this, and I was thinking like, oh my god, I think I'm lucky. I think I'm lucky that I could learn English. And this has become a reality, in Latin America. Actually, to learn English open so many other doors for you. You can choose from so many areas. If you're a tourist and you speak English, you can communicate in almost the whole world. I mean, if you go to Italy, you can communicate in English. If you go to China, you can speak English. If you go to Japan, you can do it. If you go to any single place in this planet, there is 89% of possibilities that you find someone that speaks English. Also, it opens so many other doors in the professional field. I mean, not only because it is a really search skill, but also because you can win even a higher salary if you know English than a person that doesn't speak the language. I mean, statistics says that in Latin America, the workers that speak English have a better salary than the other ones who don't. And other doors that the English can open for you are in the case of scholarships, in the case of online material, and in so other things that I can't even mention right now because the video will be so long. So basically, if you are from Latin America and you're watching this and you don't know how to speak English, please learn it. So if you don't speak English yet, what are you waiting for? See you in the next video.